Okay, next I'm going to have a look at the second stanza from here onwards. And at this point in the poem, we see Myra Hindley become quite demanding. She's already used her first imperative verb here, where she says, "Get me a Bible." But the second stanza begins with, "Send me a lawyer." Now, the fact that she's using these imperative verbs is quite interesting because it means that she is telling people what to do and she's demanding things. And that's really a reflection of how she feels about her treatment and the justice system. And linked in with the justice that she believes that she hasn't received, she asks for a lawyer. We have a triplet of nouns here. We have a lawyer, a vicar, a priest. Now, a lawyer obviously links to someone to kind of represent her because she feels like justice hasn't truly been served. And a vicar and a priest, we know, are religious figures, so she's requesting them to kind of save her, and she's seeking solace once again in religion. What that then develops into is, "Send me a TV crew, send me a journalist." So we have a repetition of these imperative verbs, and she's asking for a TV crew and a journalist. Now, we know that Myra Hindley wasn't treated particularly nicely and she wasn't reflected particularly well in the British media. But I think what Hindley's trying to do here is start to claim her own voice, make her own accusations and also claims about what happened. And in real life, she did actually appear on a TV show, and she talked about what had happened. It was a documentary made in the year 2000. So this is a kind of request for representation and also a request for the media to revisit their portrayal of her. So a request for her to be portrayed differently, perhaps. And then we also have, "Send me a shrink, where's my MP, send him to me." We know that a shrink is a kind of a psychiatrist or a counsellor, but what she's doing here is she's requesting help for her own mental health, and she's suggesting that maybe there was something wrong with her previously, which could be because, it could be that she's saying this because she knows that she will receive fairer and more forgiving treatment if she portrays this as a mental health issue rather than a morality issue. And we also know that the word shrink is quite colloquial as well, the way that she's talking about him, as Myra Hindley is throughout this poem. And the MP again represents like political representation, and she did also request this and appeal to Lord Longford and the House of Lords and the House of Parliament. She didn't get very far, but she did kind of up the ante, so to speak, in terms of trying to get her case revisited and trying to get things shifted in terms of her treatment. She's taking a very active role here in doing that. By the end of the poem, maybe she's a bit more resigned to what happens. So she's taking quite an active role in changing what is happening. Okay. The third stanza begins, "I said, not fair, not right, not on, not true, not like that." Now, this would suggest that once the trial and case has been revisited, Myra Hindley doesn't really like what people's insistences and claims continue to be. She is arguing with people who believe her to be guilty that it's not fair, not right, not on, and not true, as well as not like that. Now, fair, right, true, these words all refer to justice, obviously. And she's saying that it's unjust, and she's claiming her kind of innocence here and defending herself. And she is very defensive here. But she's also using the phrase not on, which again is a colloquial term saying, you know, that's not right, that's not okay, that you're blaming me for this. And her consistent defense here is that she wasn't aware of what happened. So what she does is she uses this triplet, didn't see, didn't know, didn't hear, to claim that she had no way of knowing what happened. Now, seeing and hearing, we know are kind of sensory imagery, but they are also ways of knowing. And she is denying that she had that knowledge and those ways of knowing. Then we have this line, maybe this, maybe that, not sure, not certain, maybe. Now, repetition of 3 maybes there. That's a lot of maybes. It makes her sound quite uncertain and confused. But also it's kind of contradictory because she says not certain, maybe. So she's kind of giving out all sorts of messages about what happened, and there's no real clarity or real kind of sound, solid story or defense that she has, apart from saying that she doesn't have the memory or any idea, but being very clear in the fact that it was Brady. Now, here, this marks a big change in her relationship with him. Before this, she was infatuated with him, she was taken with him, she would do anything that he wanted, she went along with everything, but now the table has really turned. She's happy to accuse him, and it reflects a real change in the dynamics between their relationship, but also the fact that she has become essentially estranged from him. She no longer has anything to do with him, and so now she feels confident in accusing him. And she also maybe is questioning why she did it. Maybe she's reflecting on it and realizing that her relationship with him made her do some things that were terrible, and now she's wondering why she had a part in this and blaming it on him instead of herself. The final couplet reverts to this denial and disassociation that we had at the beginning and throughout. What I would like you to think about is, does this represent that she is very clear, that she doesn't remember? Or does it represent a lack of clarity because she doesn't seem to be recalling anything? And does this whole speech, as it were, kind of unravel and descend into that lack of clarity? That's something you might want to think about and question for yourself.